Hello? It is estimated that over 2 million people go missing every year worldwide due to various reasons such as accidents, abductions, homicides, or deliberate disappearance. Today I'll tell you about a famous missing person case that occurred in 2014. That year, a short 1-minute video was leaked on YouTube, attracting over 16 million views. The video captured a scene where a young German man suddenly ran out of an airport for unknown reasons and mysteriously disappeared. After this video surfaced, it sparked numerous conspiracy theories in the online community. He was dubbed as the most famous missing person on YouTube. This was the disappearance of Lars Mittank. Lars Mittank was born on February 19, 1986. In 2014, at the 28 years old, Lars was working at a local power plant in Germany. He had a stable job, a decent income, and a good relationship with his girlfriend. Lars was a young, stylish man who was passionate about soccer. His favorite team was Werder Bremen, a local football club. In June 2014, the World Cup football tournament was held in Brazil, an event eagerly awaited by football fans worldwide. Lars, like many other enthusiastic fans, didn't want to miss the opportunity to enjoy this grand football festival. He planned to take a vacation abroad with a few close friends from Germany to both relax and soak in the lively atmosphere of the World Cup. After much discussion, Lars and his friends decided on their travel destination. Following their discussions, Lars' group decided to go to Varna, Bulgaria. Varna is located on the Black Sea coast and is Bulgaria's largest seaside resort town. With a population of approximately 460,000 people, Varna boasts a mild climate and distinct four seasons. Varna is nicknamed the Pearl of the Black Sea and is a renowned tourist destination. It features the world-famous Golden Sands Beach, with its 4 kilometers long strip of golden sand and stunning scenery that attracts tourists from around the globe. Lars and his friends plan to depart from Germany to Bulgaria on June 30th for a week-long vacation in Varna, returning to Germany on July 7th. It was an exciting trip planned specifically for their group, and everyone was eager for it. On June 30th, 2014, as planned, Lars and his friends boarded the plane and safely landed at Varna International Airport, Bulgaria. Their 1-week vacation officially began. They stayed at the HVD Viva Hotel, a popular resort hotel locally known for its full amenities and proximity to the beach, making it convenient for travel. During those days, Lars and his friends enjoyed a rare time of relaxation. They played soccer, swam, and sunbathed on the beach. On the evening of July 4th, the group went to a bar called Rock Bar to watch the World Cup quarterfinal match between France and Germany. The final score saw Germany defeating France 1-0, making the night lively and memorable. However, little did anyone expect that after this trip, Lars would mysteriously disappear. Exactly what happened on that day? How did Lars vanish? To delve deeper into this case, let's rewind to June 30th, 2014. On the evening of July 5th, Lars' group watched another World Cup quarter-final match between Costa Rica and the Netherlands. The match ended with a 4-3 victory for the Netherlands after a penalty shootout. Their vacation days were relaxing and enjoyable. They spent their days happily on the beach and their evenings in bars watching football. Everything seemed normal and fun until July 6th, one day before they planned to return to Germany, when an unexpected incident occurred. That evening, Lars and his friends continued to the Rock Bar as they had done in previous days. During this time, Lars got into a conflict with another group of German men, specifically 4 individuals. The reason behind the conflict was that Lars was a passionate fan of Werder Bremen, while the other group were fans of Bayern Munich. The rivalry between these 2 football clubs led to tensions among the fans. Initially, both sides argued and exchanged insults, but due to the influence of alcohol, the situation quickly escalated into a physical altercation. Lars and the group of men engaged in a fight. Later on, various versions of the incident emerged in the online community. Some claimed that Lars was injured in the ear and needed to be taken to a hospital. However, another version suggested that Lars did indeed suffer an ear injury, but not inside the bar. That night, the conflict only resulted in minor injuries and did not escalate to serious levels. Eventually, both sides were separated and reconciled. Lars and a few friends then decided to go to a nearby McDonald's for food. Lars told them that he wasn't hungry and would wait outside while they went in to order food. A few minutes after his friends had placed their order and stepped outside, they couldn't find Lars anywhere. Everyone found this very strange, so they began searching the area extensively but couldn't locate him. Everyone assumed that perhaps Lars had returned to the hotel earlier, but upon returning, they discovered Lars still hadn't come back. No one knew where Lars had gone and no one could reach him. At 6 a.m. the next morning, Lars returned to the hotel alone. When his friends asked where he had been, he didn't give a clear answer, but mentioned that after going to McDonald's, he got into an argument with a group of people who then attacked him. The attackers were the same individuals he had clashed with at the bar. They had even hired some Russians or Bulgarians to hit him. Lars was punched in one ear, and it was very painful. At that time, Lars hadn't seen a doctor yet, but when the pain became unbearable, his friends took him to see a doctor. After examining him, the doctor found that Lars had a ruptured eardrum from the punch and needed to be hospitalized for surgery. However, Lars did not want to be hospitalized or undergo surgery in Bulgaria. The doctor then prescribed him cefuroxime, an antibiotic from the cephalosporin group that has antibacterial effects and prevents infection. That day was the day they planned to return to Germany. Lars specifically asked the doctor if he could fly. The doctor said Lars could fly, but he should have surgery as soon as possible after returning to Germany. However, another version of the story suggests that the doctor told Lars he couldn't fly due to the ruptured eardrum. In Lars's case, although a ruptured eardrum doesn't affect flying if the eardrum has been patched, precautions should be taken such as holding your nose and gently blowing to equalize pressure. Ultimately, Lars didn't need to be hospitalized. The plane was scheduled to take off at 4:20 p.m. that day. However, Lars suddenly told his friends that he didn't want to return to Germany so soon and asked them to go back without him while he stayed here for a while longer. When his friends heard Lars say he didn't want to return to Germany with them, they were confused and didn't understand what was happening. They tried to persuade Lars to come back with them, but he insisted on staying in Bulgaria. Unable to change his mind, the group boarded the plane and returned to Germany, leaving Lars behind. After his friends left, Lars also checked out of the hotel. At 10:50 p.m., he checked into another hotel called Hotel Color. Unlike the luxurious resort hotel he had stayed in before, Hotel Color was a budget hotel. Upon entering the hotel, Lars began exhibiting strange behaviors. The receptionist recalled that he looked extremely frightened and frequently glanced out the window as if evading someone. By 11:50 p.m., Lars called home to Germany and told his mother that 4 Bayern Munich fans were following him and wanted to kill him. Over the phone, he described the situation as very dangerous and asked his mother to deactivate all his bank and credit cards. Lars also mentioned that he had medication with him and they wanted to take it from him. Upon hearing the worried call from her son, Lars's mother immediately booked a flight for him to return to Germany the next day, July 8th. She hoped that her son would return home safely as soon as possible, no matter what was happening. However, Lars's behavior continued to be peculiar. At 1 a.m. the next morning, Lars abruptly left the hotel. An hour later, he returned to the hotel and no one knew where he had gone during that time. It's possible Lars was hiding somewhere outside the hotel and used another phone to inform his mother that he was in danger. At 4:30 a.m., Lars decided to head back home. After checking out, he took a taxi to Varna Airport. On the way, he texted his mother to reassure her that everything was safe and he was ready to come home. The journey to the airport went smoothly. Camera footage at the airport showed Lars wearing a yellow t-shirt, shorts, and carrying a red and black backpack, looking perfectly normal when he arrived at the airport at 5 a.m. Inside the airport, Lars conversed with a woman about a few things. The content of their conversation indicated that Lars was asking for directions to the airport clinic. Perhaps he wanted to check his ear before flying, so he visited the clinic and was examined by a doctor. The doctor explained that Lars's ear condition prevented him from flying and he would have to wait at least 10 days unless he signed a liability waiver. Lars spent about 46 minutes in the clinic. While there, a man in construction worker attire entered the clinic. When Lars saw this man, he became extremely anxious. He continuously searched his bags, trembled, and muttered, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here." Dr. Kostov, who examined Lars, noted that everything was truly bizarre. Then at 5:46 a.m., Lars suddenly burst out of the medical room and ran straight towards the airport lobby exit, leaving his luggage behind. The entire incident was captured by surveillance cameras. Lars ran straight without looking back even once. It seemed like he was trying to reach somewhere, but he didn't seem familiar with the area around the airport. After running for a while, Lars switched to walking. He walked and ran for a while and eventually disappeared from the view of the surveillance cameras. When Lars's mother, Sandra, discovered her son missing, she quickly contacted the Bulgarian police and hurried from Germany to Bulgaria to find out about her son's situation. Local police mobilized helicopters, drones, and search dogs to look for Lars around the airport area. Despite their utmost efforts, the search yielded no results. Not giving up, Lars's mother decided to hire a private detective to help find her son, believing that there might be some detail overlooked by the police. However, despite their best efforts, Lars was still not found, as if he had vanished into thin air. The mysterious disappearance of Lars is difficult to explain with common logic. Subsequently, the airport surveillance video was uploaded to YouTube and Facebook, quickly attracting millions of views. In just a short time, the video surpassed 10 million views on YouTube. Lars's disappearance became a hot topic globally, drawing intense interest from the online community. Paul Roman, one of Lars's travel companions, shared with German television in 2016 that Lars was in good spirits during the vacation, though he ate very little. Tim Schult, another friend, confirmed Lars only ate a bowl of soup and a small salad. Sandra Matank, Lars's mother, recounted with anguish, "I felt that my son was in danger. I could even hear his heartbeat. I thought he might be robbed or killed." That evening, Lars texted his mother to inquire about the antibiotic prescribed by the doctor, cefuroxime, 500 milligrams for treating ear infection. Sandra wondered why her son would text about that specific medication. Years later, a truck driver reported seeing a homeless man hitchhiking by the roadside who resembled Lars. However, without any photograph taken at the time, there was no way to verify if it was actually Lars. Even an online user posted claiming to have seen Lars on the streets of Canada and was confident 99.9% that it was him. The mysterious disappearance of Lars Matank remains one of the most baffling missing person cases, leaving many to speculate on his fate. After an online user described seeing a homeless man resembling Lars Matank, the story lacked credibility for many due to the absence of photographic evidence. Nonetheless, it continues to intrigue people. 2 years later, in December 2016, a police officer in Brazil encountered a barefoot man on a highway. This man appeared disoriented, dressed in tattered clothing and without identification. A photo of this man lying on a hospital bed subsequently went viral on social media. Based on stature, height, and appearance, many believed he resembled Lars Matank. However, police investigations determined the man was not Lars, but Anton Pilipa, a Canadian humanitarian worker missing for 5 years and recently found. The mysterious disappearance of Lars Matank prompted worldwide internet users to offer various theories. One such theory involved drug trafficking. Bulgaria has a high crime rate, and the group of men Lars encountered in the bar could have been drug traffickers. After a scuffle, they identified Lars as a potential target and began monitoring him. Perhaps after Lars's friends left McDonald's, he was abducted and forced into drug trafficking activities. Lars likely decided for his friends to return to Germany to prevent them from getting involved. When police checked Lars's luggage left in the clinic, they found no trace of illegal substances. This led to speculation that Lars may have been coerced into hiding drugs internally. Based on camera footage showing Lars running out of the airport without looking back, it was evident he was fearful and anxious. He ran straight ahead, avoiding the customs security checkpoint area. Some speculate Lars feared that drug smuggling would be exposed, prompting his decision to flee. There's also a possibility the drugs hidden internally were not properly packaged and leaked, causing Lars's panicked reaction. The disappearance of Lars Matank remains a major mystery, and people continue to search for answers. Another hypothesis suggests that the antibiotic prescribed to Lars Matank, cefuroxime, could have been the cause of his unusual behavior. However, cefuroxime is a commonly prescribed antibiotic readily available for purchase. Some believe that the strong blow to Lars's head could have caused more serious injuries than just a ruptured eardrum which went undetected. This could have led Lars to experience a range of issues, including symptoms of paranoid delusion. Those affected might feel they are being watched, deceived, or harmed. Another hypothesis suggests Lars may have intentionally left behind his luggage and passport at the airport to start afresh. Besides soccer, Lars was passionate about outdoor sports. He was fit and had survival skills like hunting, fishing, and trapping. Perhaps Lars grew tired of his current life and wanted to escape into nature to live a secluded life for a while. That might explain why he requested his mother to cancel all credit cards and fled to the mountains. Opponents of this theory argue that Lars had a girlfriend in Germany and a stable job. Moreover, his actions before arriving at the airport, calling and texting his mother, bringing luggage to the airport, showed he was eager to return home. If Lars truly wanted to disappear and live a secluded life, he wouldn't have taken those actions. As of now, Lars Matank has been missing for over 9 years. His mother continues to hope for his return every day, though that hope grows increasingly fragile. However, the online community has never given up on finding Lars. Some enthusiastic individuals have even set up a Facebook page to provide any relevant information to help Lars's family locate him. Yet to this day, no one knows where Lars is or what has happened to him. The disappearance of Lars Matank remains one of the biggest mysteries on the internet and in the records of missing persons cases worldwide. What are your thoughts on Lars's disappearance? Do you think he is still alive? A senior veterinary student in South Korea mysteriously disappeared after attending an end-of-term party. This case remains unsolved to this day and has attracted significant public interest. I have tried to investigate and present the most objective evidence so that everyone can form their own thoughts about the truth. The allure of unsolved cases lies in the fact that any assumption could potentially be correct. This story takes place in 2006 in Jeonju, South Korea, a city located about 230 kilometers southwest of Seoul. This city is one of South Korea's famous historical sites, with thousands of years of history and two prestigious universities. The protagonist of the story is 29-year-old Lee Yoon-hee. She studied statistics and fine arts at EWH Women's University in Seoul, graduating in 2003. Due to her passion for animals, she decided to become a veterinarian. After graduation, she continued her studies in the veterinary department at Chunbuk National University, where she was known as an excellent student. In June 2006, when she was about to graduate, she mysteriously disappeared. What happened that year? To understand more, let's go back to June 5th, 2006. On this day, Yoon-hee, along with over 40 other veterinary students and some professors, went to a bar near the school for dinner. Since the next day, June 6th, was Memorial Day in South Korea, a public holiday they could enjoy themselves freely. The students and professors drank and chatted in a lively atmosphere until around 2:30 a.m. when the party was winding down and people began to leave. Yoon-hee was no exception as she prepared to leave a classmate, worried about her safety, offered to walk her home. Yoon-hee agreed and the two left the bar together. In fact, this classmate had secretly loved Yoon-hee for a long time, although their relationship was not official. Everyone at school knew about his feelings. Yoon-hee lived alone in a rented house near the school about 1.5 kilometers from the bar, a 15-minute walk. On the way home, Yoon-hee told her classmate that she had reached her house and suggested he go home. After ensuring Yoon-hee was safely home, he left and returned to his own house. On June 7th, after the holiday, students returned to school as usual. However, they noticed that Yoon-hee did not come to school and had no reason for her absence. This seemed strange because Yoon-hee was known as a good girl who loved studying and had never skipped class. Worried, her classmate went to Yoon-hee's house after school to look for her. When he arrived, he found the door locked and knocked several times, but no one answered. He only heard the dogs barking from inside. He thought Yoon-hee might have gone out, so he left. On June 8th, when her classmates saw that Yoon-hee was still absent, they realized she had been missing for 2 consecutive days without any reason. This was very unusual, so after school, A decided to go to her house with 3 other students to check on her. However, the situation was the same as the day before. The door was still locked. They knocked several times but got no response, only hearing the dogs barking inside. Immediately, they called Yoon-hee's parents in their hometown to ask about her situation. Her parents said she was not at home, and they felt something was wrong. The 4 decided to call 112 to report to the police. After receiving the information and statement from the group of students, the police arrived at Yoon-hee's apartment. They had to break the lock to enter. Inside, they found the house very messy, with items scattered on the floor. The 2 dogs in the house seemed to have been left unfed for several days. Their barking was weak, and it seemed that they had wandered around looking for food, which made the room even messier. After searching and finding no trace of Yoon-hee in the room, the police immediately contacted her family to begin an investigation. The police did not fully focus on the information because such missing persons cases were too common. Most missing people leave and then return without any issues. Although there was some suspicion, there seemed to be no signs of a struggle. Therefore, the police assumed that Yoon-hee might have gone somewhere to concentrate on painting. Her 4 classmates were very worried about Yoon-hee because 6 days earlier, on the evening of June 2nd, she had gone out to buy fruit. On her way back, a motorbike had snatched her handbag. Inside the bag were her wallet, Idaho, and mobile phone. At the time of her disappearance, she was in the process of redoing her documents and SIM card. After Yoon-hee disappeared, no one could contact her via mobile phone or track her location. Among the 4 friends in the group, 2 went with the police to the station to give statements, while the other 2 stayed in Yoon-hee's room awaiting news. At that time, they made a serious mistake. Knowing Yoon-hee's family was coming from their hometown to check on her situation, they decided to clean up the house, hoping her family wouldn't see the messy room. One of them was A, who had secretly loved Yoon-hee, and another was a classmate, B. They swept the floor, cleaned everything, and even washed the bed sheets. When B opened the washing machine, she found 4 towels and a pair of underwear inside. They seemed clean, but had not been dried. They also found 400,000 won in cash on the table in the room, likely the pay Yoon-hee received from a part-time job a few days earlier. Additionally, they found a fallen bouquet on the floor that should have been hung on the wall. Everything at the scene could have been crucial evidence, but no one realized they were disrupting it. At 6 p.m., Yoon Hee's parents and sister arrived at the apartment. Her sister entered the room first and found half a cigarette on the windowsill. Yoon Hee had smoked while attending university in Seoul but had quit since. Her sister, thinking Yoon Hee had started smoking again and fearing their parents' scolding, secretly threw away the cigarette, not knowing it could be evidence left by a perpetrator. Yoon Hee's family then inspected every corner of the house to gather more information. They discovered that the clothes Yoon Hee wore on June 6th were missing. Yoon Hee was a clean girl who changed her clothes daily, suggesting she had not returned to the apartment after the party. According to some students, Yoon Hee had attended the party laughing and joking without any signs of unusual behavior. Classmate A stated that on the way home she seemed a bit down and didn't talk much. He did not escort her into the house but was sure from a distance that she had returned to the apartment. The police questioned the surrounding neighbors, but they reported not hearing any unusual sounds that night, likely because it was late and most people were asleep. Yoon Hee's family found a backpack in the house, the one she usually carried to school. Students at the party had seen her with the backpack, so if it was in the house, she might have returned. Yoon Hee was very organized, planning her studies and life methodically. She had a habit of taking notes, but the notebook in the backpack was missing. A friend referred to as C recalled that on June 5th, she had gone to Yoon Hee's room to retrieve study materials for a surgery practice session. At that time, C saw a chair and a low table next to the bed. The table was special because it was very short, possibly used as a coffee table or study table. However, when inspecting the apartment, they found the table missing. Additionally, a hammer was missing from the toolbox, which should have been there. The police technicians examined Yoon Hee's computer and discovered that between 2:59 a.m. and 3:02 a.m. on June 6th, the computer accessed a website for about 3 minutes. After that, there was no activity on the computer until 4:21 a.m., more than an hour later, when the computer was forcibly shut down. The search keywords used during the 3-minute session included terms related to sexual harassment, 112, the police number in South Korea, and more. It seemed Yoon Hee might have been contemplating whether to call the police. On the night of the party, Yoon Hee was seated between a male classmate and a professor, both men. Was Yoon Hee harassed during the party? Many experts suggest they did not notice any unusual behavior from her during the party, but it's possible she was harassed and then went online after returning home to find out what to do. Alternatively, the culprit might have intentionally left these online traces to mislead the police. Data from the computer showed that at 4:21 a.m. on June 6th, the computer was shut down by holding the power button, which risks data loss unless the computer was frozen. This was not Yoon Hee's usual habit. So why was the computer shut down this way? Or was someone else responsible? 4 days after Yoon Hee's disappearance, on the night of June 10th, the police discovered that someone accessed a music website and checked her email using her account. Based on the IP address they found, the location was a hotel named Yeouido in Seoul. The police then extracted footage from the hotel's security cameras but did not find Yoon Hee or anyone else suspicious. On June 13th, a week after the incident, Yoon Hee's father discovered a pile of discarded items on a slope about 20 meters from her rental house. Carefully searching through the trash, he found a low table with its metal legs removed, leaving only the tabletop. Marks on the back of the table suggested the screws had been removed with a screwdriver. The police showed a photo of the table to several of Yoon Hee's classmates who confirmed it was the missing table from her rental house. Why were only the table's legs missing? Many speculate that the culprit was responsible. If metal collectors had been nearby, they would have broken it apart quickly without needing a screwdriver, as this method takes more time. So why did the culprit want to hide the table legs? One theory is that the culprit used a hammer to attack Yoon Hee that night, causing her to fall onto the table and bend the legs. Leaving the bent legs at the scene would indicate a struggle. Therefore, the culprit had to dispose of the table and hammer. Carrying the table with legs out at midnight would arouse suspicion, so removing the legs was a better option. Additionally, the bouquet, which should have been hanging on the table, had fallen to the ground and the two dogs could not have reached it. The police inferred that she might have been assaulted after returning home that night, with A being the prime suspect. After all, A was the one who suggested escorting Yoon Hee home after dinner, and only he knew what happened after leaving the pub, as no one could verify his story. Moreover, A and another student, B, stayed behind to clean the room after the police investigation, the best time to handle evidence. The police later took Yoon Hee's computer for further technical examination and found that at 2:18 p.m. on June 8th, someone had turned on the computer. This was when A and B were cleaning the room. Why was the computer turned on at that time? Was it accidental or intentional? When questioned, both students claimed they did not remember. During that period, and on June 6th, from 2:59 a.m. to 3:02 a.m., the computer was accessing the web. At 4:21 a.m. the same day, the computer was forcibly shut down, and on June 8th, at 2:18 p.m., the computer was turned on again. Upon further detailed examination, police found that from 3:02 a.m. to 4:21 a.m. on June 6th, the computer was not in standby mode, but someone had deleted the browsing history. During that time, the computer was accessing the web with keywords such as sexual harassment, 112, and these histories were retained. A had deep feelings for Yoon-hee. He not only remembered what clothes she wore daily, but also secretly collected her hair. Although they hadn't established a close relationship, Yoon-hee didn't dislike A as she wore the outfit A had given her when they were studying together. Was A the one who deleted the computer history? A claimed that after escorting Yoon-hee home, he went home to sleep and woke up at 10 a.m. the next morning. Living alone, his statement wasn't highly credible. During the ongoing investigation, Yoon-hee's missing notebook was also found on a laboratory bench at the university. However, it contained old notes such as a friend's mobile phone number and income from part-time work. The last entry in the notebook was about practicing surgery on the afternoon of June 5th and having dinner after the internship. The question is when the notebook was placed on the laboratory bench. Perhaps she had forgotten it earlier, or someone deliberately placed it there. Student A admitted suspicion from the police and stated he had no involvement in Yoon-hee's disappearance. The clothes he wore that day were taken for testing, revealing animal bloodstains on his shirt. However, the blood was not human, it was from an animal. Finding animal blood on a veterinary student is common, but what happened next was unusual. Chunbuk University's veterinary department usually performs experiments on dissected animals, collecting their bodies for a week before incinerating them. Normally, their weight is around 40 kg, but a week after the incident, the weight suddenly increased to 110 kg. It was the end of the semester with no large animal experiments scheduled, so why did the experiment suddenly increase in size? It could include Yoon-hee. If so, the perpetrator must have known everything about the university's veterinary department, and A fits that profile. The police then asked A to take a lie detector test. When A answered questions with no significant fluctuations in his biological indicators, it meant he was not lying. So who is the real perpetrator? Facing Yoon-hee's rental house is another vacant rental house from which you can see inside Yoon-hee's house. Although it was empty, some empty cigarette butts and toilet paper were found on the floor, suggesting someone had been there. Was Yoon-hee targeted by peeping Toms? Due to the lack of surveillance equipment around her rented house, the investigation has been challenging. Since the incident occurred, the police have restarted the investigation several times, revealing some new leads. In 2019, student D, a female half-sibling studying nearby, received an anonymous interview with the media. D revealed that a few days before the incident, she returned home alone late at night. As she reached the second floor of the hallway, she felt a strange man following her from behind. Terrified, she screamed loudly, waking up the neighbors, and the man panicked and fled. The second night after the incident, she felt hungry and wanted instant noodles but couldn't turn on the gas stove because the gas valve was outside the door. Nervous, she didn't dare go outside. The next morning, she went outside and found only her house's gas valve blocked while others were normal. She felt lucky that she didn't check outside last night, as intruders might have targeted her house. In May 2019, a surveillance video in Seoul caused a stir when a girl returned home alone, followed closely by a suspicious man. If she had closed the door just a second later, the man would have successfully entered the house, with potentially dire consequences. After failing to enter, the man lingered at the door for over a minute, attempting to open it before finally leaving. This incident raised strong alarms for many women, urging them to enhance their defense measures to ensure their safety, especially in areas without surveillance cameras late at night. Nearly 25 years have passed and the case remains unresolved. Yoon-hee's parents have distributed thousands of flyers but have yet to find their daughter. They still suspect that A was involved in her disappearance, but believe their daughter is alive and hope for a reunion one day. The ultimate question remains, where did she go? What do you think happened to her? Why did she disappear without a trace like that? How do you feel about today's case? Leave a comment so we can discuss. And if you liked it, don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to support us. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.